High expectations are the key to everything. Sam Walton. DZ Tribe, Josh Thomas, so glad to have you. Hey, if you haven't done it yet, make sure that you subscribe, tell a friend about the Do Zone podcast. We want to make sure that everybody out there is empowered to get stuff done. Also, if you haven't checked it out, I would love it if you would take the Do Zone DNA. It is a proprietary personality assessment developed by me that will show you how you prefer to get stuff done, and so you can build the world around you for optimal peak performance. Once again, that's the Do Zone DNA. You can go and learn more about that at dozonedna.com. So I want to talk to you today about the Dystopian Dreamboat. Okay? I just got off the Dystopian Dreamboat, and it was one of the most incredible, enlightening, and frustrating and depressing and unhealthy, but also healthy experiences I've ever had in my life. And I just have to talk about it. So I've already told some versions of this story since getting off the boat. And so I figured I would go ahead and officially document the official story so that I don't have to keep telling it. I can just refer people to my podcast episode. So here's how it goes. I am part of a mastermind called Apex. And at one point, when we were at a meeting, there was this fancy-looking British guy that showed up, and his name was Adam Lyons. And I was immediately captivated by Adam. He was just a truly interesting character in all aspects. I loved the way that his brain worked. I loved the way that he thought. I loved how methodical and clear he was. I loved the stories that he told. And I knew immediately that I wanted to find a way to get into this guy's orbit. And so I was very intentional about reaching out to him and saying, hey, I really appreciated you. Would love to learn more about you. I got onto his text messaging list, and anytime he would say some interesting stuff, I would reply back. And eventually, he sent a text out to that list that said, hey, I'm going to the Austin Zoo with Loretta Brunning, who is my biochem mentor. And he had done a presentation about that at one of the events. And this was like the second or third time I'd seen him. And I was like, yep, I'm in. Because I'm really fascinated by the topic. It's about hormonal responses, human beings and their basal instinctive hormonal responses to stress. And so he did a talk about that. And then he mentioned, I'm bringing my mentor to the Austin Zoo, and she's going to walk around and tell everybody how the animals behave and how it's related to their hormonal responses. So I was like, yep, sign me up, take my money. And so I showed up to that, and I got that experience, and it was really cool. We spent all day there. It was just amazing content, just an amazing group of people. And that was kind of my first introduction to his world. And well, a few weeks later, I got an invitation to join him on what he calls his working vacation, which is a business mastermind on a cruise ship. And I'm like, well, that's kind of fascinating. At no point in my life did I ever have any interest in getting on a cruise for any reason whatsoever. Not the way that I like to travel. Just doesn't seem interesting to me. I don't know that I fit the demographic, but he offered a really compelling reason to say yes, because you get to spend an entire week with a guy that is probably one of the most intelligent business minds in the world, on the planet right now. And you basically have unlimited access. And there's going to be about a dozen other entrepreneurs, and we're all going to be trapped on a boat together for a week. All right, cool. So I went ahead and said yes, even though I wasn't like super fan of the boat. Now, I will tell you this story is not necessarily about my mastermind experience, which was tremendous, transformational. I went in with a business idea that I felt was pretty well developed, and within 5 minutes, he turned it on its head, and I have a completely different direction to go that is extremely compelling. Now, I've shared it with several people, and I've gotten lots of feedback, so it was a great experience. Highly recommend it. But that is a conversation for another day, because what I want to talk about right now is the Dystopian Dreamboat. Okay, now I want to set the scene. This was a cruise that left. We were on Royal Caribbean, and the name of the boat was called the Oasis of the Seas. And we left on Sunday afternoon, and the destinations were what they call Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which is an island in the Bahamas that the cruise line actually owns. So it was basically a water park on an island. That was the whole thing. And then we docked in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and we didn't get to see much of Puerto Rico because we spent most of the day visiting one of his very successful high-power marketing friends at his penthouse looking over the ocean. And we got a clinic from him on how to build our businesses, which was awesome. And then the next day after that, we went to Saint Martin, depending on which side of the island that you're on. And that was the closest thing to paradise I have ever seen. So those were our stops, and then we spent the next couple of days booking it back to Miami on sea. So I've gotten the mastermind part out of the way. I've gotten the stops out of the way. Now let me talk about the boat. For those of you who've ever been on a cruise, you probably know this. You've probably seen this, and you probably kind of paid attention to these kinds of things. But for me, at 42 years old, this was my very first experience with any kind of cruise at all, and I had no clue what to expect. And so everything was new, and my eyes were wide open to really understand everything that was happening, both from a business perspective, from the perspective of the cruise line itself, and also from a psychological perspective as far as what is happening to affect, whether positively or negatively, the behavior of the passengers on board. And so I was fascinated. This thing is a giant petri dish.